Today's video is going to be a little different. I'm going to talk about Sam Seder yet again, but today I really want to focus on why Sam Seder and the Majority Report are different in a way that is completely unique to a degree that makes this show stand out from anything you would ever see from a major network or even from the smaller media companies that exist on the internet. For me to be able to show you why Sam Seder's show is different, I have to give you a little background on the show first. Majority Report has been going strong for well over 12 years, and in 2012, Sam hired Michael Brooks as a producer on the show. Unbeknownst to Sam and the rest of his crew and fans of the show, Michael would become an incredibly funny, witty, and just downright likable co-host of the Majority Report, offering incredible insight and analysis combined with phenomenal comedy into an array of different political and socioeconomic issues and conflicts. Along with being co-host of the Majority Report, Michael was successful in creating his own show, as well as other amazing programs that were universally praised. I know I've talked about Michael Brooks a lot, and this video is about Sam and the Majority Report, and some of you might already know where this is going. During Sam's live show on July 20th, 2020, 2 hours and 6 minutes into the show, while reading comments from viewers, Sam abruptly stops talking and states that they have to end the show early.
The literary hangover Twitch stream and play some video games with Matt. I would like to do that. It may take some while. I would probably go with a miter saw first.
Interesting choice.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
Why would you go with the table saw first?
I don't know. It's like a huge, crazy saw that fits on your table. That's cool.
No, it's not a huge, crazy saw that fits on your table. It's a saw that is like on a table, that exists on a table.
I know what I said.
Matt, where would you go fall on that?
Sorry, I'm a little bit distracted by something right now, guys.
You can get a combo table miter saw.
Ah,
Well, but that's cheating.
Brendan
That's
with the
cheating.
Compromise.
That's not.
That's just the efficient way to do
No,
it.
I would agree, but I just think you're going to use a miter saw more than you can use a table saw. Anything that's over like 12, 16 inches, anything that's under like 12 or 16 inches, you can cut with a miter saw. And if you have a circular saw, you can make up for. I think just a miter saw. I use my miter saw more often. But. Assy McGee, I'm not a communist or an anarchist, but I really love Sam Jamie days. Your conversation is so much better without Michael interrupting, saying, can I just say halfway through Jamie making an interesting observation? Jesus, we're getting a lot of attitude today. Jet Junkie, Kentucky, which has done a good job compared to our neighbors, hit a shockingly high new record on Sunday, typically our lowest reporting day. Very worried for today's reports. Get your bourbon and bunk back down, Bluegrass. Sometimes there's like there are numbers that are released that have that are slow to report, and they get all dumped at one point. Okay. What? Maybe we should.
Yeah.
Hey, folks, we need to end the show now. We got to check on some stuff. We will be back.
Michael Brooks died. After suffering a sudden pulmonary embolism, Brooks passed away completely unexpectedly at the young age of just 36. The next day, Sam went live with a tribute show dedicated to Michael Brooks' best moments. The clip I'm going to play for you is from the beginning of the 4-hour show, which I would definitely recommend you check out for yourself. And the clip is completely unedited.
Tuesday, It is Tuesday, July 21st, 2020. My name is Sam Seder. This is the 5-time award-winning Majority Report. This is a special episode of the Majority Report, an incredibly sad episode of the Majority Report. I imagine most of you know by now, yesterday, Michael Jamal Brooks passed away at the age of 37 of a sudden medical condition that folks were not aware of, including himself. We are all pretty much devastated around here. He left way too early, at way too young of an age. Today, what we're going to do is just have some folks on to talk about Michael, what he meant to them. We'll at one point open up the phones for you folks to express the same thing. We'll take some IMs. I'm going to have some words about Michael throughout the show. This, we've been basically all been in a state of shock, and we don't have any huge production stuff, prepared. We are just going to talk about Michael. There's going to be a lot mentioned about what kind of a friend he is, and what he has meant from a movement perspective. Michael worked on the Majority Report for 8 years. He came in 2012. I met with him on recommendation of David Packman, who I guess had met him briefly in Western Massachusetts, and he was in New York. We had a drink. I was looking for a producer, and he was incredibly knowledgeable, and he was funny. I had no sense of really just how funny he was. And he specifically did mention to me at the when we were having the drink, he's like, I'm not so great on details. And I was like, well, that shouldn't be a problem.
Your normal interviewing style.
Exactly. Exactly. And, but he came onto the show, and he was right. He was not so great on details as a producer, but he was incredibly funny. And I think for me, the what he brought to the show for me was that he made it very fun to come in every day.
Yep.
And as I was preparing for today, I couldn't help but think, like, what would this show be like if we were getting into the studio in Brooklyn, and he come in, and I mean, this is going to sound weird, I think, for people, but sorry, I figured I'd hold out longer than this, but I thought it would be funny I mean, I just imagined like talking to him and saying like, okay, this is what we'll do. We'll announce that you've died, and then I'm going to segue into a Harry's commercial. I'll talk about like how I shaved and I just could imagine him laughing really hard at it.
Yeah.
And one of the things that was special about having Michael on the show was, my experience in performing and doing comedy. And I've worked with a lot of great comedians. Michael was very unique in his ability to know so much about politics and be funny and satirical with them in an integrated way that I had never really seen before. But literally the funnest moments of this show that I have done, and the moments where we're really transcendent, were moments where he would be making me or laugh, and I would be trying to make him laugh, and it's something that I don't anticipate experiencing again at that level. You know, there are moments in your career where you get lucky. And he provided those moments. I mean, his loss, the loss, his absence is a much greater loss than that. But from my very narrow perspective, that is, I think, what I'm going to feel most acutely. Like I can come up with a whole series of morbid jokes about this that I know that he would have appreciated. And I've been sort of, cheering myself up by watching Dave Rubin clips a little bit and thinking about how hard he would have laughed at those. So we're gonna talk about Michael. It's gonna be difficult because, like I say, it's a huge loss. He had, in many respects, outgrown this show and had developed his own show, which I feel really good about how much success he had and was able to experience. He interviewed three of the people I know he was most, probably some of the highest on his bucket list of ever interviewing in the past couple of months.
Mm-hmm.
And his book came out and his show was a huge success. And, what's amazing is that he, as much of a legacy as he's leaving with tens of thousands of people, providing condolences, and Lula tweeting about it, which I know he would be incredibly excited about. He was just getting started. I didn't even start doing this until I was literally his age. This was his moment, despite the really amazing success he had in just 2 years of doing his own show. His moment, I think, was still years off, and the import of what he was going to do was years off. But fortunately, we still have a tremendous amount of work. And, as I look at these emails of condolences and read what people are saying, his legacy lives in so many people that he never, ever met that have just been impacted and influenced by him. So we're going to try and spend today celebrating him and talking about how to maintain his and grow his legacy and really what he wanted, which was to bring about a real change in the world, and I do mean world. He had a very international focus. I mean, people will talk about that, and I speak better to that than I will. But I'll have more to say in a bit. But we have folks who are gonna come on to the show and talk about Michael.
Only on Sam Seder's Majority Report do viewers, watchers, listeners, and fans get to see and hear this level of humanity on a news program. It's real. It's raw. Sam doesn't try to hide his feelings or make an attempt to turn the camera off, and it's moments like these that make the Majority Report different than other news shows out there. Turn on Fox News, CNN, or NBC and tell me if you see this amount of emotion put into their work. All you'll find is robotic hosts that almost all seem to have trouble seeing their teleprompter that they're reading off of. And that, to me, is what makes Sam Seder and the Majority Report completely and utterly unique.